Hey, I'm Marcelo from the Vone, and you're watching BooTV. We're a power trio. We're an international band. You got drummer from St. Albans, lead guitarist from Poland, and I'm from Brazil. Also grew up in Portugal, where I met the guitarist, and we've been going for 5 years now. London-based. Well, me and the guitarist, we used to go to high school together, and there was this period in our lifetimes where I would just, the lunch bell would ring, I would go up to him at the music room, be like, hey, and he'd be like, hey, turn on the guitar, I'd sit on the drums, and we just play. I didn't even know his name for the first 6 months.
Oh no.
And then eventually found out who he was. We played in like several bands together. We happened to move to London at the same time. And then next thing you know, we formed the Vone. We are, if you were to pair up the Foo Fighters and Vicky Clyro, and they had a love child, that's the Vone. Yeah.
Sick.
All those like rhythm breaks that Biffy love, mixed with those guitars from the United States. You know what I mean? That's the vibe. No worries, it's all good. It's just chat. Yeah, this new album's like, well, it took us 2 weeks to record it, but it's been in the making for about 12 years now. The oldest song on it was written when I was 15.
Oh wow.
So yeah, it's really exciting to finally get it out there. I thought that we'd have a record deal by the time we made this album because it was so bombastic in my head, but the pandemic hit and I was like, well, why do I have to wait to make it happen? So we got some patrons, we started a Patreon page, and then thanks to the people who signed up and became our fans on there, we managed to fund the album, and then, 2 years later, here it is. A lot of the stuff that we've released so far, we've actually composed as a band, but a lot of the stuff on this album I composed on my own. So there's a lot more of a songwriter influence on the style, but then I still got the same musicians on board to arrange it. So then when the drummer and the lead guitarist came on board, it becomes the bombastic sound that everybody knows as the Vone, our fans know as the Vone. But there's that difference in terms of style because I wrote it mostly on my own, so it's a lot more lyrical, and there's this massive journey the album goes on, hugely influenced by albums like The Wall and American Idiots, in the sense that there's a big backdrop, a war, sort of apocalyptic scenario, and then like a love story that you follow through with characters, and I'm sort of, because you get tired of singing the same song, so after 10 years you're like, I don't feel what I felt when I wrote the song. So then you start singing as an actor, you start singing thinking about the character, you know what I mean? And I feel like the album very much is that. It's like a series of different characters that come together in this narrative. There's a song called We're Not Lost on it, which is this like 6-minute mammoth, and it's got a saxophone solo, a guitar solo, lots of different time signature changes, and epic vocals, and that's my favorite track on the album. I think that's the climax of the album, right in the middle of it. Absolutely. I even spoke to one of my favorite theater makers ever. There's this person who runs a company called Action to the Word. Her name's Alexandra Spencer-Jones. She works for the Globe right now, and she's like phenomenal theater maker. And I told her, can you listen to the album, because to me this is my treatment. If we could turn it into like an hour-long jukebox actor-musician thing, that would be amazing,
That's so cool.
With all the actors playing the instruments themselves, because that's what she's an expert on. She does a lot of actor-musicianship work as well. I mean, actor-musicianship's been around for a while, but like ASJ creates some of the best actor-musicianship work I know. I had an opportunity to be in the West End in one of her shows, and every single one of the actors played the instruments, and we all rotate instruments, and I have that in mind. If we were to ever try to stage the Vone's new album, that would be
amazing.
Yeah, that would be the
Fans
dream.
can definitely look forward to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Got that plan bubbling away in the background. Oh wow. There's a lyric in the album in Portuguese that goes like this: "Não sou artista, sou terrorista, vida de bandido, pra mim não faz sentido," which in English means, I'm not an artist, I'm a terrorist, the life of a bandit that doesn't make sense to me. And that was a lyric influenced by the way that people who were protesting in Brazil were branded as terrorists by the government, and they were like literally being chastised for speaking up against the government, which is the next step to dictatorship. And the idea is, as a foreigner, I love that I get to be here at the Fiddler's Elbow performing in this epic venue where so many amazing musicians have come before. But in the UK, I'm allowed to protest. And I think our right to protest is one of the most important things that we have as citizens. Me and the rest of the band often take part in Extinction Rebellion protests, and we really believe in the environmental cause. So that lyric is probably my favorite on the album because it represents all of that. And I like that some of our fans are like, "You're not a terrorist." Well, I don't like that you're saying that about yourself. I was like, "No, you don't get it." It's like, again, you're always singing through a character's perspective. And the whole point is that that's what I was called. Here in the UK, even with that Protect initiative that was sent out to lawyers, teachers, how to identify early radicalization, and it encouraged teachers to literally notice if a kid was starting to go to a radical movement, and any kid who wanted to do what Greta Thunberg was doing and skip school on Fridays could be branded as a terrorist, could be put into that category of you're being radicalized, which is wrong. So that's what that lyric represents being called a terrorist just because you're part of the Extinction Rebellion, which is not true,
Yeah.
So that's my favorite lyric. Thank you for asking that question.
I love that. Yeah.
Oh man, be a Solero.
Yes.
I think we're a bit.
No one has ever said that before.
Really?
Yeah.
First time.
I love that. Yeah.
You got mango on the outside and this cream in the middle. I think the mixture of genres would best be represented by a Solero with the mixture of flavors.
That's great.
Actually do have one. James Bond, Agent Under Fire, PlayStation 2. There's a multiplayer function where you can shoot up against each other. Really old school, crappy graphics,
I
but
love that.
the gameplay's never been made that good ever again. The new games just can't compete with the old James Bond PlayStation 2.
That's brilliant.
We'd be opening for Biffy Clyro, and they'd be opening for the Foo Fighters. That would be it, and I think that'd be a hell of a festival.
That would be sick.
That'd be sick.
Biffy Clyro were my first band I've seen back since the pandemic, and I cried.
I love their stuff. I
love
think Simon Neill's one of the best songwriters of our time. I think their new album's amazing.
So
Honestly, I'm such a fan. He's a huge influence for us, lyrically especially. I think he never writes a boring lyric. There's a song by Alter Bridge that I've been listening to all week, and I have a radio show I do every Thursday on a little online radio station, and I'm definitely going to spin that song. It's called Metalingus, and it's got like a mean riff, but I've listened to it all week. So 9 p.m. local time in London, every Tuesday on the Vone's YouTube channel. We got a vlog, and we got a little dedicated following, very small group of people who tune in religiously every week, and they mean the world to me. Start working on album number 2, keep growing our Patreon page, and eventually hopefully play some gigs outside of London for some of our fans around the UK. And eventually maybe play our first international gig, because we got some fans in France and Germany, New Zealand and Mexico. It'd be great if we could go there as a band and play for the one fan in Japan and the one fan in Mexico. But you guys know who you are.
They must have friends.
Yeah, they must have friends. We want to come to you. That would be the dream for 2022. Keep working on more music, write more music as a band, and hopefully ride the wave of everything that's happening in the background. Because I'm also a theater maker and an actor. So there's a lot of stuff happening with my other projects that would be really cool to help that grow the Vone as well.
Together. Sick. That would be really cool.
Ouch.